that they took a vote with shareholders, and the shareholders said they wanted to keep it. The shareholders are mostly the people that forced it onto Costco to begin with.
Well, they just scrubbed Reimagine tomorrow. Well, now, if you hired, 1,000 activists and their job was to reimagine tomorrow and you just scrubbed it, what are they doing exactly?
Renegade Online. Cliffix for 10. Anybody think that Iger might want Snow White to fail so he can use it as justification to clean out some woke from Burbank? Will a Snow White fail give him political cover from his own people? No. Because if that was the case, then he would have gotten that cover with Strange World and Lightyear, which even though he wasn't back in the saddle yet, Chapek was still there.
Him.
It was, that was all him. Strange World was all him. There's so many, all the people there, all the woke crap at Disney. All the woke crap at Disney was put in there by Bob Iger.
Hey, what about that group, that Story Matters group folks that just got canned? Well, at least their department got
allegedly canned, right?
You have the same opinion I do, which is why I can't get this video edited that I made, because I don't think any of this real.
No, look, it's Disney's one of those. There's some companies out there that I think are genuinely ditching their DEI crap because they've been waiting for this excuse to do so. And let me explain. And thanks everybody for the super chats. We'll get back to them in just a minute. There are companies out there that have been absolutely put under the social gun for years by big investment management firms that all pal around together at the World Economic Forum and crap like that. Okay.
What a think.
Yeah, I know. What a Larry think. And this whole notion of the first thing to hit and the big measure on Wall Street, if you look it up, is what's called ESG, environmental social governance. I'm not going to go into a long diatribe re-explaining all this stuff, but it's basically social Marxism that you shove into the corporate world using shareholder capital to push leftist political agendas. Using corporate money, the trillions of dollars of capital collectively available through, say, the S&P 500, leveraging that to push radical Marxist social changes from the top down, right? You don't have to have government take over industry. You just have to push your narrative into it in a few key places and then let it just fester like a cancer, which is what they've been doing. Okay?
But Valiant, the people at Davos know best.
Well, yeah, I forgot about that.
What?
No, but look, the thing is, they've been doing that for years. And there are some companies out there that were okay. If this is what culture and society really wants, and if we advertise we're doing this, and this makes our customers happier and more willing to do or to have additional engagement with our company, more sales and whatnot, if it brings on an entirely new demographic of people that we were never before able to access because they didn't want to do business with us because they didn't feel represented, this is where the DEI stuff came in as part of ESG. It was part of the social, the S in ESG. DEI falls under that S in ESG, okay? Social. And then a little bit on the governance side. So all of these companies were convinced for years with all of these freshly minted, phony bullshit college graduates with diversity, equity, and inclusion related college degrees, right? We asked for years, what are these people going to do with these nonsense college degrees like gender studies and women's studies and all this stuff? Or diversity. I'm a diversity major. Or people that were coming out of college with human resources degrees, which I've never understood that to begin with. But they were coming out heavily indoctrinated in DEI, just like a lot of public school teachers are, right? That's why we're having somebody, why do you think Trump wants to get rid of the Department of Education? But the point is that they've pushed all that into the corporate world forcibly, but they convinced them that, hey, look, if you hire these people with these diversity, equity, and inclusion degrees and you create these whole new departments out there, and you pay these people, just spend a few $1 million a year. Each one of these companies, spend a few million a year, putting in a new DEI department, and watch all the business that you're going to get. We're 10 years into this, and none of it has worked anywhere. Now, there are companies out there like Disney that truly believe in it, and there's the other companies out there that have been looking for any excuse to get out of it. Go ahead, Culture.
Especially since all the different breakdowns from the Wall Street Journal to Fortune magazine that have destroyed McKinsey on this unrepeatable experimentation baloney sausage that allowed them to put the neo-Marxism into every corporation. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of companies out there we could probably look at it and say, look, do you really think that a company like, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but let's say like Lowe's or John Deere or some of these other things. I mean, John Deere was one that jumped out at me, and Tractor Supply. They're saying that their customer, or was it Tractor? No, it was Costco. Costco said that they took a vote with shareholders, and the shareholders said they wanted to keep it. The shareholders are mostly the people that forced it onto Costco to begin with. BlackRock and Vanguard and all these other assholes. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, but it's like, well, the shareholder said, it's most of the shareholders of these companies are the mutual funds that you invest in from your IRA and your 401k, right? When you buy that mutual fund, when you buy that S&P 500 index fund, not a managed fund, just a raw passive S&P 500 index fund. Well, if that's State Street or Vanguard or BlackRock, they have your vote. They have your vote on all those Fortune 500 companies when they come up, and Costco's one of them. So who do you think's voting for the DEI stuff? It's the guys that you do that with. I mean, it's BlackRock. So anyway, there's companies out there that just wanted to get out of it, and there's some that are going to try to stay on it because they believe in it. Or they have to.
Let me tell you the big problem they've got. So some of these companies, it was lip service, and they're going to be just fine. Companies like Disney and Costco and others, they're true believers, right?
Yeah.
So
the cancer runs deep. Yeah, the cancer runs deep.
Okay, so Disney's a true believer. Here's the problem with being a true believer in today's time. Disney, it's not as if they just have to switch their policies. Like, they actually hired vast numbers of ideologues, political hires, people who are totally onboard activists. Their only mission at the company is activism in a very partisan way. Okay, so now they have all of these people. Well, they just scrubbed Reimagine tomorrow. Well, now if you hired 1,000 activists and their job was to reimagine tomorrow, and you just scrubbed it, what are they doing exactly? Like, it's not as if they just suddenly, were part of some ultra woke rapture where they just disappeared. That didn't happen. No, they're still there. And now you have to give them different jobs. But their only thing that they're there to do necessarily is to implement the woke utopia. So they're not really interested if you put them in other departments to do other things. Like, they don't care about, I'm not trying to be mean here, but they don't care very much about getting the percentage of veterans up, as part of the employee workforce. They're more interested in institutional change and gender theory and making sure that if your child wants to change in certain ways, that they'll be there to make sure it happens. Those people are going to be very unhappy. And what that means is that for companies like Disney, they've got to figure out a way now to exodus those individuals out. You might even say a Mickey Mouse deportation must occur. But Bob Iger does not have the cheese balls for it.
Well, but then again, he's getting a lot of flack right now from inside, and I think it's because a lot of these programs are being cut and shifted and moved. And again, part of the movement might be to get these people to quit. You got to keep that in mind too.
Why would they quit, Tom? What can they? There's nothing that they can actually.
Well, here's the thing: you got to remember though, Bezos and Iger have been rubbing shoulders with Trump. So we always got to keep that in mind.
Iger is still kind of on the outs with.
I don't think Iger so much. Oh, you're talking about Bezos, and I saw.
Oh no, Iger was at Mar-a-Lago.
I don't know about it.
Yes, he was. This was reported 2 weeks ago. We did the video on it.
I remember. Well, I remember Tim Cook And I remember Bezos.
Bob Iger was there.
Was he wearing a costume, Tom? Was he dressed as Ronald McDonald?
You guys got to also remember, who did he make a huge enemy out of? And who do you think is probably gunning for him big time and he's got to play nice with right now?
Well,
Ike.
Elon Musk.
Oh, well, Musk too, but Perlmutter. Look, basically everybody on Trump's team.
News, but
but he made an enemy out of Ike.
He did too. Yes,
Ike has been behind Donald Trump since he won that night. Now, when I say behind, I mean standing in the camera shots. And this is a man who never goes on camera. You got Ike Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter, folks out there watching, is the guy that sold Marvel to Disney 15 years ago. And Bob Iger totally screwed him over. And he was the guy that teamed up with Nelson Peltz to try to start a proxy fight with Bob Iger to get on the board. So Ike Perlmutter has been behind Trump. Musk has been behind Trump. And these are two people that Bob Iger has gone above and beyond to piss on their cornflakes as many times as he could in the last several years. And now they're quite literally best friends with the president of the United States, the guy that Bob Iger least wanted to see sitting in that White House. He almost had Kamala Harris in there, and that would have all but guaranteed Dana Walden taking over the Walt Disney Company. Maybe now not so much.
No. The last thing they can afford is any kind of controversy.
And I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but I'm just saying there's a reason why there's so much going on right now within the halls of Disney.
No, well, I mean,
there's lots. Yeah.
The ABC stuff alone, just the ABC News, and George Snuffleupagus. I mean, that's part of the story that I'm trying to incorporate.
Well, there's the story going around where they literally said, we thought Bob had our backs.
I was going to bring that up tonight. In fact, I had it saved. I thought I had it saved in Apple News.
Which basically means that he is shifting and changing things the way they don't like.
Again, he is trying to survive at this point and make Disney not be a target, because Comcast, I'm going to tell you right now, Comcast is going to get punished. And look, they're not out of the woods. ABC, if Disney loses ABC News, they start to lose their network licensing.
Well, CBS just played nice just so they could get the Paramount deal to go through.
Yeah, well, that's not anywhere close to done. We're talking about
they got some
the
of it
lawsuit
through,
that's still hovering.
It's got a lot of going on.
Yeah. Let me break in here real quick.
But I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's going to change overnight, but
no, it's not. Staccato, thank you for the $50.
50.
Staccato says for 50 Pro, Disney is exploring moving their DEI hires to the border to help enforce it.
Yes.
The manliest of them will be doing just fine down at the southern border. I'm so excited.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.